welcome to our channel. I'm Dr. Alyssa Easley from West Pelvic Wellness, where we take a holistic approach to pelvic floor rehab. On this channel, we are going to be sharing tips, exercises, and strategies to help you feel your best. So don't forget to subscribe and follow along for all of our content, and check us out on all our other social media platforms. Let's talk about C-section scars. Scar tissue is the body's way of healing damage. So a surgical incision, in the case of a C-section, is going to be that damage. And then as the body heals, it sends extra cells to the area to remodel and rebuild where the break was. In most cases, scar tissue does not feel like the original tissue. And that is because the body is building durability. It wants that scar to be strong and to withhold forces like the body is used to. So, where this becomes problematic is if the scar tissue itself is too stiff and actually causing pulling or restriction into other parts nearby. So it could be the skin that's getting pulled, it could be the fascia, it could be the muscles in the area. And that is why, as a holistic pelvic floor therapist, I really assess a mom's scar after birth, because it's going to affect not only pain or sensation in that part of the core, but the way the core and pelvic floor coordinate together and movement patterns. As a mom gets back to working out and wanting to work on core strength, scar restriction can cause you to feel disconnected from your deep core, which is something we really need if we're getting into more intense exercises, lifting weights, carrying our kiddos. So this is really important. Scar restriction can affect mobility, so how the body moves. It can affect the organs in the area. So for cesarean scars, that's the bladder, that's the digestive system. And so you can feel changes in our bowel and bladder habits after a cesarean if the scar tissue is causing a problem. It can also cause pelvic floor and core muscle restriction, which can cause pain either in the joints around the pelvis. It can also cause pain and guarding in the pelvic floor muscles themselves. What most moms complain about when they come to see us, if they're having that pelvic floor muscle restriction and muscle guarding, is pain with intimacy, pain in the hips or the glutes, pain in the back, in the SIs, or even the tailbone. So how we address C-section scars at West Pelvic Wellness is kind of multiple layers of treatment. So we'll do myofascial therapy on the scar, and that can actually be really gentle. If you're newly postpartum, you don't want to be very aggressive with your scar massage. We do other modalities like cold laser therapy or even dry needling. And we also do use a lot of movement to help the muscles that are being restricted by the scar learn how to move again and get stronger. In this video, we're going to give a brief demonstration on desensitizing your scar, touching your scar, and doing some scar massage, and some ways to work on rehab at home. So for scar desensitization, you can start this as early postpartum as your doctor allows you to. For the first couple weeks, you're still going to have incisions or the surgical glue and some kind of bandage to cover the incision. And so you want to wait until all of that is clean and clear and removed. For desensitization, you are using really soft materials to touch the skin and the incision lightly. And you're just rebuilding connection to the nerve endings in the area. That's going to help reduce sensitivity and ultimately help you be more comfortable to massage the scar. So you can use a microfiber cloth, which is really soft. You could use a pillowcase. That's another really smooth, gentle, desensitizing material. I've also seen people use cotton balls or cotton rounds. Um, Progressing from there, you can try more stiff, more rough materials. So a washcloth that's not as soft, or a towel, anything you're comfortable with. And again, this is a light touch. You're not being aggressive and really pushing down. You're just trying to rebuild connection in that new postpartum phase. Next, what we're going to talk about is scar massage. And you really do not want to go deep with this massage until you get to around 12 weeks postpartum or beyond. That 6-week clearance is really just the beginning of healing for some incisions and scars. So I recommend asking your doctor if you have specific questions about your C-section, because all C-sections are different. We can't approach postpartum healing the same for everybody. For a very gentle introduction to massage, I like to use flat hands above and below the scar, lightly pressing in and making some circles. So this again is building connection to the nerves. It's reducing sensitivity and pain, and hopefully making a difference if you have any of that numbness as well. So I'm just making circles along. You could also come in and lightly press and do a little lift, but nothing's really aggressive or deep. And this is all based on your individual tolerance. If you're having a lot of pain, I do not recommend pushing through the pain just to do this type of treatment. Now, when we're thinking about healing beyond 12 weeks, that's when we can get in a little deeper with our massage. And we can use other tools like cupping therapy, dry needling, and some of those things. Um, for the deeper massage and for that 12 weeks and beyond, you can get on top of the scar, add more pressure, and then movement with your hands. So again, you can do circles. You could just go up and down over the scar, or kind of a diagonal cross, like side by side. And you can feel with your hand if there is a side of the scar that is more stiff and more restricted, and you can always target more time on those parts. For this type of deeper massage, I do prefer to use either a massage cream or a lotion or an oil, just so that you're not pulling on the skin too roughly. Now, you can find all sorts of cupping sets online. This is a small cup, it's a stiffer plastic, but what I would recommend is, again, using a base of oil or massage cream, and then you can either attach a cup that's a suction style, so you just squeeze it and attach it, or some of the cups like these have a little kind of squeeze attachment that takes the air out, and then you can leave it in place. You could glide it along the skin. You could even put them on and do some gentle movements with your hips, like dropping your knees to each side or stretching. But the cupping can be a really nice way to get deeper into the fascia and muscle, especially if you're someone who still gets a little bit creeped out by touching the scar itself. So the cup can be a nice way to introduce some scar release, but not have to have your hands all the way in there. Another treatment that we use at our office is a cold laser therapy. So, this is a light laser that penetrates about an inch or two deep in the skin. And what it does is gets the cells in the area moving. So, it gets the blood pumping, it reduces inflammation where you put it, um, and it can help that restriction of the scar soften up. So I've seen red light therapies on the market. There's the cold laser that we use, which is a class 3B laser. And then there's also a step up from that, a class 4 laser. Now, that is a laser that needs to be used with goggles with the help of a professional. But laser therapy can definitely be something that helps speed up or facilitate your healing process.